Welcome to Dead Man Talking. Before we start off, I would just like to thank everybody that's watched over the past week, liked and shared, and also commented. It's been great to have some great feedback and continue with the support. Also, hope you guys have had a great week and are looking forward to a relaxing weekend and some creepy stories. We've got quite a busy show packed for you this weekend, so do stay tuned. Without further ado, guys, let's get into tonight's story. Tonight's story is entitled How I Fucked Up and Got My Friends Killed. Let's get straight into that. Me and my friends have always been pretty interested in the supernatural. Ever since high school, we used to hang out at our house and watch shows like Destination Truth and Ghost Hunters, and fantasize about being able to go out and actually investigate like those teams do, and hopefully capture footage of a Bigfoot or, some kind of cryptid. Well, a few days ago, that became a reality. You see, I live in a town with a population of roughly 8,000 in West Virginia, and recently, there's been a slew of disappearances in the woods just outside of town. The police have investigated, and have never found any trace of any missing persons. Some people said that a Wendigo was the cause. Of course, they're all really backwoods, so nobody ever listens to them. But I thought it would be cool to do an investigation, so I called my friends over and told them about my idea of camping in the woods and trying to capture footage of the Wendigo, if there even was one. They were all pretty excited about the idea. I don't think I'd ever seen them that excited before. I grabbed my tent out of the attic and got my camera. Then all three of us piled into my Jeep and started heading towards the woods. We stopped off at a convenience store and grabbed a few things from the trip. The cashier asked us if we were going camping, and I said that we were going hunting for a Wendigo, if it even existed. And he warned me straight away that if we heard any strange noises while out there, just to head back into town as soon as possible, as it would be too dangerous to stay, since apparently that's a sign that a Wendigo is nearby, or at least it smells you or something. Anyway, we got to the edge of the woods and unloaded the little gear that we had and headed deep into the forest. After walking for maybe 20 minutes, we found a small clearing where we set the tent up. One of my buddies had brought some of his hunting cams and he set them up in different locations around the tent, and he hooked them up to my laptop. We sat there for maybe an hour or two just watching the camera, no feeds, when one of the 4 feeds goes blank. Not static, just blackness. Chris, who was the friend that brought the cameras, went straight away to check on the camera, and after a few minutes he hollered for us to get the hell out of there. We all ran out of the tent to where he was, and he showed us the camera, which had been crushed with immense force. We were totally baffled. I didn't know of any animal that could have done that. Not that I'm a nature expert or anything, but that's some severe force. We decided to stick with the 3 remaining cams plus my digital camera. As we made our way back to the tent, my friend Sean stopped and said that he heard something in the trees. We dismissed it as a squirrel and went back to check the camera feed. Maybe something showed up while we were gone. We rewound the footage but didn't see anything of interest. It started to get dark, so we decided to lay down and get some sleep. Figuring maybe the cameras would get something in our sleep, I also set up my camera to record. In the middle of the night, around 1:03 AM, we were awoken by the sound of something trampling outside the tent. We all thought it was a bear, and since Chris was a bit of a gun nut and a hunting expert, he brought a gun with him for protection. He grabbed the flashlight and his pistol and slowly exited the tent. In order to see just what was out there, he peeked his head out, and as soon as he stepped out, I heard him yell, "Holy shit!" Then he fired off 3 rounds before seemingly getting knocked to the ground. We could hear the sound, presumably his bones being crunched and popping out of socket as he screamed in agony, and then with a quick bloody splat, he went silent. We then heard what it sounded like. I can only describe as the sound of munching, as if something was eating Chris's body. we were convinced this was a bear and were scared shitless. The only gun was outside the tent with what we thought was a bear. But with no better ideas, me and Sean played rock, paper, scissors on who went to get the gun. Of course, I lost and was the one that had to go out with what I thought would be a bear. So I grabbed the spare flashlight and slowly set foot outside the tent. I shined the light around and saw a creature that looked like a mix between a human and a deer. As soon as the light hit it, it turned its face to me, revealing deep, sunken eyes and a bloody, sharp-toothed grin. It leapt up and ran at me at almost lightning speed, and I jumped out the way. That caused it to go into the tent with Sean. Poor Sean. Man, he didn't even stand a fucking chance. As soon as that thing entered the tent, he started screaming for a few seconds, and then he also went silent, and blood practically coated the inside of the tent. It was his blood. It sprayed out of the flap for a few seconds and then ceased. I was frozen with fear. The creature poked its ugly head outside the tent and stared at me with those lifeless eyes. I started backing away when my foot kicked something. I looked down and I saw Chris's gun. I picked it up and aimed it at the creature as it stepped out of the tent and stood up, revealing itself to be at least 8 feet tall, despite never having fired a gun before. Then I started threatening to shoot it if it didn't back up. It kept slowly lumbering towards me, and I gave in and pulled the fucking trigger. It didn't do jack shit. The bullets hit the thing's body, and it just looked at the bullets, then looked at me and tilted its head to the side, as if confused. It then charged at me. I threw the gun and took off running. I must have turned into fucking Usain Bolt or some shit, because then I have never run that fast in my life. The thing was right behind me, and it was the entire time all the way back to the truck. And once I got to my Jeep, I hopped in and looked up in time to see the creature staring at me through the driver's side window. I started the Jeep and slammed on the gas as hard as I could. I left the thing in the dust. I haven't been back there since. That was 3 days ago. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Please do like, comment, share, and remember folks, be safe, not sorry.